Hey guys, this is Camo Kid 1SS, and today we're going to have a tutorial on how to do a acid stonewash. This is an acid stonewash I did on my 4-inch Voyager, and I thought it turned out amazing, and I posted it on Cold Steel's Facebook, and I had a lot of good response, so I wanted to do this tutorial video. I have this Cold Steel holdout, and I've already taken the pocket clip off. I'm going to stonewash that. I'm going to stonewash the rocker and the blade. And before we take apart the pivot, I just wanted to show everybody that Cold Steel Loctites everything from the factory. A lot of high-end makers, Emerson and some other companies don't do that. So
Microtech?
Yeah, Microtech doesn't do that. And that's just to go to show that, you know, you don't have to have a knife that's made in America to have good attention to detail. So let's get started. For this project, you will need a T8 driver and a T6 Torx driver. I've already done everything I needed to do with the T6, so we'll take the pivot off now with the T8. And you want to have a rag or a magnetic, you know, something to drop your bolts and pivots on, because so you won't lose them. I don't have a magnetic board, so I'm just going to use this rag. Let's see if we can get the scale off now. And there's the inner workings of the knife. We have the rocker, the spring, and the blade. And
isn't that a phosphorus bronze washel?
yes. And the pit. Okay, so let's see the. Okay, there it is. There's the stop pin that goes for the triad lock. And if that stop pin was in, this knife would be solid. I've taken apart this Voyager many times, and the pin stays in right there. And let's see if I can get it in real quick. We have a little bit of time. Stick the pin in. And that lockup is absolutely solid, even though we don't have a handle scale on. I mean, to me, that's just a testament of how strong and how well built these triad locks are from Cold Steel. You don't have to have a pivot, and you don't have to have a scale in that lock. I mean, I don't want to do overstrikes right now because the stop pins would fall out, but it's extremely solid. And even side to side, I mean, eventually it would come apart, but it's not even moving side to side. So I just wanted to show you all that. So now let's take the phosphorus bronze washing off, and you can also notice that there's a Teflon washer as well, which is also really cool because most companies, they either have Teflon washers or phosphorus bronze washers. Cold Steel has both. And now we'll slide the blade off, and there's the Teflon washer on the other side, and we'll go ahead and put that back on the pivot, because we won't have to mess with that. And notice, you want to make sure that you keep the washer and both washers in order. So the Teflon was touching the metal of the blade, while the phosphorus bronze is touching the G10. That's important to remember. So now we're going to try to get this rocker off. We might have to take the pin off, or I mean the spring off. Okay. And there we have it. These are the things that we're going to stonewash. Hey guys, I just disassembled the Cold Steel holdout. So we have every metal part that's visible when you're holding the knife. We have the blade, the pocket clip, and the rocker. So what we're going to do is we're going to soak every metal part in this Radio Shack etching acid. It's called ferric chloride acid. It's pretty strong stuff, so what I do in order to save it and let it last longer is I mix about a 50-50 ratio of water and acid, and that seems to work well. And this is my jar I have the acid in, and I just keep this outside. I don't take it inside, and it will last you a few stone washes. It actually doesn't lose its acidity for a long time. So we'll go ahead, and this is important. Some people use fingernail polish to paint the insides of the pivots so the acid doesn't eat away the pivots, but I don't do that because I don't keep the acid on the blade for that long. And some people also use string to make the blade and pocket clips float inside the acid, and they can retrieve it later. What I'm going to use is a simple telescoping magnet from Sears. So we'll go ahead and drop this in. Drop the pocket clip in and the rocker. And you'll see how I use this when the time comes. We'll probably keep the blades and the acid for probably 30 to 45 minutes. And it's really good, especially if you have never done this before, to check the blade every 10 minutes. So we'll get started.
Tell me when you're filming. I'm filming.
Alright, we're waiting for our acid to take effect, and we just got back from Popeyes, and my 26-pound dachshund also enjoys Popeyes, so we thought we'd have her included in the channel. This is an advertisement for Popeyes, by the way, but it's pretty good stuff. Actually, you want a biscuit, girl? You better see it. See it. Jeez, totally. There you go. Oh, 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 oh.
It's like feeding alligators.
You got to wash your fingers because you'll take your fingers too. Calm down, Aisha.
That's a biscuit eater.
Is that a good biscuit, Aisha? Give me. Look at the camera. Look at the camera.
I love that dog. Not the one next door, but this one.
Okay guys, it's been about 30-45 minutes since we dipped the blades in acid, and now let's retrieve them with our telescopic magnet. This might take a little bit. Alright. Here's the main blade. You can see the acid put a very dark patina on the blade. Here's the clip. There's the rocker. Now we'll go over to the Stonewash machine. And something I forgot to tell you at the first part of the video is the acid will eat the edge right off the blade, so you'll have to be very good at sharpening. And the stones are obviously going to damage the edge as we stonewash the blade. So we'll put that in there, and then the next thing I do is you can use WD-40 or any type of lubricant. This is liquid wrench. And you just spray all over. And this is the Harbor Freight rock tumbler. This is the, they have a size that's bigger than this, but it's a little expensive. So I just went with this one. Make sure to use plenty of lube. And I prefer to run the machine without the lid. So from here, I'll get it on some good solid ground, because if not, it'll turn over and it'll dump all the rocks out. I did that last week, and you don't want to do that. So I forgot to say, we'll probably do this for another 30 minutes to an hour. So alright, it's been about 30-45 minutes, and let's check and see what we have. Here's the blade. Pocket clip. There's the rocker. That didn't take as long as I figured it would to find the blades, but let's come over here now. And something else I forgot to mention at the start of this video is you want to be careful and make sure that you're confident at disassembling your blades, because this is considered modification to a production knife, and depending on what company you're doing this to, they could choose not to warrant this. So if you had something go wrong with your knife, they could be like, well, you're just out of luck because you chose to play with your knife. So make sure to be careful with that. Man, that turned out gorgeous. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's almost Emerson Stonewash quality.
I haven't seen Emerson Stonewash in person, but I mean, there's the clip. Man, that's just good looking. Alright, I'm going to see if I can assemble this on video, and if I can't,
We'll cut film.
yeah, but this is the hardest part probably, is getting that spring back. So you might have to take the spring out. Oh, that wasn't bad. Alright. Now, before I do this, I can go ahead and tell you that the action is going to be a little different from a factory because of the stone washing of the fittings. So what you can do, and I might do this after I finish up, I might retake it apart, you can polish the inner workings, and it'll make it the smoothest deployment you've ever seen on a rocker lock. And actually, if you didn't want to do the stone wash, you could also just take your knife apart and polish the inner workings anyways. But you want to be careful not to remove too much, because then you can mess up the lock. But if you do that, just make sure you stick with very fine sandpaper. Here's the washers. And I've taken apart a lot of knives in my day, and cold steel are some of the easiest to disassemble. And that didn't go on correctly, so we'll take that apart again. Take the washers off. Teflon on the metal. Bronze on the G10. Doesn't that look good?
It does look good. If it just came like that.
That would be actually kind of interesting if I could get a clear scale for this. But, okay, there we go. That's a better fit. Here's the pivot. And this should be the easiest part, but since I'm filming, it's the hardest part.
Well, at least the dogs aren't walking.
There we go. And these are not the best Torx drivers you can buy on the market. The ends are very soft and they strip out very easily. But the nice thing about these particular Torx drivers is that they're Craftsman and they're lifetime warranty. And when they do strip out, and they will strip out, you can just go up to Craftsman and get you some more for free. I mean, it's... I wish I could say that they're, better, but, it's what I have to work with. Wow, this is going to look awesome. I'm making a really good time on putting this thing back together. All right.
I see it.
Yeah, there's the pocket clip. And you can notice that the rocker's a different color. I mean, you don't get to see too much of it, but it definitely would have looked weird if I would have just did the blade and not the rocker. I mean, it would have been really shiny. And something else, wait, don't open it just yet. Look at the, isn't that awesome? The holes in the handle, you can see the stone washing. That's pretty neat. Now open it up. How smooth was that? Was it?
It could use a little bit of walk, but it's not bad at all.
Okay. It was not the smoothest knife from the factory. One of the smoothest knives or rocker locks I got from the factory is these Voyagers. So that probably will be an easy fix.
Now, want to do a edge test?
It's pretty dull. I'm not going to rub it on my skin but it's not shaving. And I probably could just straight up rub my fingers on it, but I'm going to respect the blade, and even though it's dull, it still has the potential to cut you if you're doing something stupid with it. Yeah, okay, and the lockup is just as solid as it was. The acid did not affect the pivot, but I know a lot of people that do the fingernail polish on the pivot, so the acid doesn't eat up the pivot, but there's no problems.
And you very well could have put your own logo on this if you wanted to.
Yeah, I could have. I could draw my initials right there, and if I did want to put my own logo, all I'd have to do is get some sandpaper and polish it up right there and just do the process all over again. But I just kind of wanted to, since it is cold stills, I didn't want to put my initials on it. Mm-hmm. But I think that turned out really awesome.
Yeah, I like how the blade looks. It kind of has an aged look to it.
It doesn't look like Damascus, but it could kind of, I don't know, it has the old looking vintage Damascus look, I guess, if I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But we'll get a couple still shots of this, and then we'll post the video. I hope y'all learned something, and be careful if you choose to do this. Like I said, you'll have to be very skilled at sharpening, because this edge is dull. Between the acid and bouncing around with all the stones, it's extremely dull. And also you have to watch out for your warranty, because if you take this thing apart and if there's something wrong with the knife, or you just figure out that you're not skilled enough to put it back together, it's a possibility that depending on what kind of knife brand you're dealing with, they might not help you out.
Yeah. Now, just for the viewers' own information, what tools do you think you need to bring that edge back to life?
Well, you're definitely going to need something a little bit more than the Spyderco Sharp Maker. But if you had some time, you could probably do it on that. But I'm personally going to use a Craftsman water wheel, and if that doesn't work, I might have to get out a Harbor Freight sander, and then I'll go and hit it up with my Spyderco Sharp Maker. But it will take some skill to get this edge back, because it is completely gone. And look at the spine of that too.
Yeah,
oh man,
it looks good.
Yeah, this wasn't my favorite knife I've gotten from Cold Steel, but now that I've personalized it myself, I'd have to say that my opinion has changed about this knife.
And it's not because it's a bad knife.
Yeah.
It's definitely a good built knife.
I think it's the ergonomic issues that I've had with it. I mean, nothing's wrong with the ergonomics, but if you compare it to the Voyager...
The Voyager fits like a glove.
Yeah, this Voyager seems like it was made for me. And, I don't know, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the ergonomics. I especially like it because you can do all sorts of grips with it. But, it's a one-of-a-kind now.
Yep.
Thanks for watching. I hope y'all got to learn something today.